Hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Sorry that my camera is so, like, foggy today. I was just, out and about, checking out some Christmas lights with my family. Doesn't help that I'm wearing, like, a white shirt, and it's probably making me glow even more. My goodness, I hate it. Sorry, y'all. Swear to God, y'all don't have astigmatism, or maybe you do, but this is not because of that. This is literally, my hands are quite literally glowing. What's up, everybody? Hey, SLJ. Hey, Kaiwan. Watching on your iPad. Very cool. Well, nevertheless, welcome to the General Hospital After Show. I'm your host, Dion Gabriel. It's been an interesting week on GH. Mostly centered around Valentine's return to the land of, freedom, so to speak. And we finally figure out where Anna is. Lots to do with Sidwell and Drew and Willow. And some drama with Portia and Isaiah as well. And we're going to talk about all of it. They can't frame Willow when she's the one that did it, Kaiwan. No, it's a cloudy lens. You missed the part where I was just explaining it. I was just outside, and so my camera is, I guess, unthawing. And I look like I'm glowing. It's a cloudy lens. I'm trying, though. I've been trying. Nothing is helping. Maybe if I, darken it a little bit. I don't think it's going to get any better. Is it better that I'm darker? Is that helping anything? Oh, Lord. But yeah, so sorry for the cloudy lens today, guys. It's not your eyes, it is my camera due to being outside. Not on me currently. I tried wiping it with my shirt, that didn't help. Oh man. Yeah, no, nothing. Nothing that I can grab right now. Darkness helps me. Okay, yeah, we'll keep it dark today. It's gonna be a nice intimate setting for y'all. Back to, regular programming next week, I guess. So I keep saying. Darker made it worse? Oh god. Okay, well. We got split votes then. Oh. I don't know what I just did, but I can't see my okay, there we go. Let's see. I'm having such a professional start. Look. I'll wipe it with my leg. And see, that did not help. Did not help. It is what it is. We going cloudy today, guys. It's probably also this white shirt. I wonder if I can just throw on my jacket. It'll help the glow at least. Maybe. A little bit. There. A little better. Okay. It's as good as it's gonna get today, folks. Sorry. Okay. Well, let's get into it, guys. Sorry for the rough start. Okay, so with citizens of Port Charles, we're a little bit on the edge this week, especially the Spencer family. Valentine Cassadine managed to escape prison while being transferred from Steinmauer to the States, somewhere in the States, I don't remember where. But he escaped by jumping out of a plane, with a parachute, of course. And he made his way to Carly's to hide out. And she wasn't too happy about it. But he did say that they'd be working together when they were meeting to take Jack Brennan down. And the PCPD nor the WSB would suspect Valentine to hide out at Carly's. So it's a good spot for him. Pretty much everyone assumed that he would try to reach out to Charlotte first and likely grab her and keep going. Lulu has been absolutely terrified this week. Rightfully so, because Charlotte straight up told her that if he were to make contact with her and show up at the house, she would likely go with him. She'd do it in a heartbeat. Because of course she would. I actually like this Charlotte way better than the other one, not gonna lie. Because she's not so like extra and cheesy. Like she's just like teenage girl that loves her father. But yeah. Nathan even offered to stay there the entire night, pretty much on Dante's orders, actually, to make sure that Valentine didn't try to snatch her. But since Valentine's main goal is to get revenge on Jack, he had to lay low and get creative when it comes to contacting her. So, since the way that he does it, essentially, is he gets Carly to drop off a blue ribbon somewhere that Charlotte can find it, so that she knows that he's okay, and to not try to find him. So, you know, she's got some peace of mind there. Carly's not exactly loving hiding fugitive Valentine in her shed/attic. But he plans on hiding there until Anna gets back in town, which is hilarious, since we learned where she's actually been this whole time since being snatched from her car weeks ago. We finally got a glimpse of Anna this week. She's been in what appears to be this pristine lab with a couch and a notebook where she can do yoga. And she's been trying to figure out where she is. And even though she hasn't, we kind of did. And it turns out she's actually in some kind of lab underneath Wyndemere. The reason why we know that is because the ladies of deception were having a meeting with Sidwell in the living room of Wyndemere, and Pascal, the butler, came out with snacks, and then he brought the same snacks just a few minutes later into the room with Anna. So that's how we know that she's like somewhere in Wyndemere, which is funny because the PCPD literally searched the entire property for Valentine when word got out that he escaped. And I don't know, I guess it means it's quite well hidden. Now, just to be clear, Anna's not being experimented on in the lab or anything. I think she's just being held there so she doesn't interfere with whatever Sidwell has planned. And I'm assuming occasionally they let her make calls because Emma told Mac, who is finally back on screen this week, that she heard from her again, wishing her a happy Thanksgiving. Unless they're using like an AI Anna voice. Totally possible in this day and age as well. Some of the old... I mean, there could be hidden pathways as well. Or they could have added on to Wyndemere as well. Because, you know, obviously Pascal wasn't worried about the PCPD searching the property for anything incriminating. Not that they were looking for it. They were looking for Valentine, really. But, you know, he's obviously confident that there are certain parts of Wyndemere that can't be found. And for all we know, he could have easily built in a lot more since the Cassadines actually owned it. Now, speaking of Sidwell, he's been a busy boy blackmailing Sunny and Laura with pictures of them standing over Laura's trunk that has Dalton's body in it, the body that he planted in there himself. Obviously, his plan is to strong-arm both Sunny and Laura into doing what he wants. He got Sunny to sell his peers to him, and he plans on getting Laura to push forward decisions on his behalf. Hey, Money Mac. But yeah, they're in a tight position, but they've gotten to know Sidwell pretty well since he's landed in Port Charles, and they know he's egotistical. So basically, their strategy is just to wait until he gets comfortable enough to blather on, which he will inevitably, and that's when they can kind of make their move. I love that Sunny and Laura got to kind of have a conversation about the last time they had to get out of a mobster's sort of thumb, and that was with Frank Smith. You know, Luke and Laura and Frank Smith and Sunny in the 90s. Great storyline back then too. But yeah, we love a good history mention on the show. I just hope that they do it sooner rather than later, because it's honestly a little too real watching criminals infiltrate the government and committing crimes while hiding behind the powers granted to them. Too real, y'all. But speaking of which, can we talk about Drew and Willow for a second? Because this week we've experienced not one but two plot twists involving Drew shooting. Obviously, we learned recently that Curtis had planned on hiring Selena Wu to kill Drew, but we also learned that he didn't go through with it. So Nina was there when Curtis got arrested for that, because he lied, you know, to the PCPD. That's why he got arrested. And she made her way to Alexis's house, where Willow and Drew were kind of going over their strategies with Alexis to let them know that this might not go to trial. Willow was excited and took it upon herself to try and convince Chase to sneak her into the queues to let her see her kids. But thankfully, Brooklyn stepped in and called her out on how she's letting Chase risk his career, for her, and she backed off. Now, while all of this was going down, the PCPD discovered some mislabeled traffic footage that actually shows Willow driving on Drew Street, which the DA lets Alexis know and sends her the footage as well. When Alexis confronts Willow with the footage, Willow looks like a deer caught in the headlights. She fully knew that she was on that street. She didn't deny it. But she still swore up and down she didn't shoot Drew to Drew because he was there. But yeah, she's like, I swear I only drove past your house. I didn't kill you. Which means she knew that she drove on that street. So there's no framing her about it, Kaiwan. There's this, her silhouette is there shooting the damn person. Listen, hear me out. My theory, like I said, I'm more convinced than ever that she did it. But what I'm now also convinced of is that Drew figured out she did it as well. Because why else would the footage have been mislabeled conveniently, coincidentally, the footage that shows Willow going to his place? Like that, you know, Drew has access to that. So, like, you know, no one else trying to hide that. But yeah. I mean, I've been convinced for a long time, long before Drew even got shot, that Drew is aware that Willow is not mentally stable. I'm pretty sure that at the time that she was kind of messing with Daisy, he figured that out. We kind of had a scene where he kind of was, you know, the wheels were turning in his head. I think he put two and two together to see that Willow was having a psychotic break and doing awful things to Michael and Sasha's child. And so I don't think he's surprised that Willow shot him. But he sees it as a perfect opportunity to frame Michael for it. You know, Willow's, you know, he like, to some extent, he does care about Willow, and I think he doesn't want her going down for his shooting, but he also saw an opportunity to frame Michael for it and get him out of the way. But the thing is, as well, like, I guess another possible theory is that he hired someone to shoot himself, and Willow happened to be there, but I don't know. There was also a moment this week where he almost remembered something else, and if I were to get what he might have almost remembered, if he didn't remember it already, was the sound of the ringtone that Kai and Trina once mentioned. But if he knows that Willow was there already, then I don't know. Angel says, remember, Drew figured out Willow was messing with Daisy and asked her what she did when she was away, and she lied to him. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, like I said, I knew there was a scene where he figured it out. So yeah. he knows that she's not mentally stable. And if he doesn't know for sure that Willow did it, he knows there's a pretty good chance that she did it. Only thing he can honestly remember his voices. Well, we shall see. We shall see. But yeah. I don't know. I just want the storyline over with, guys. I'm so over it at this point. I don't care who shot Drew. I don't think anyone should go to jail for it. They would have been a town hero. But yeah, clearly he's just trying to frame Michael for it, and it's not going in his favor because evidence keeps building. Now, speaking of Michael, he and Jacinda have been slowly falling for each other, and they've reached the point of their relationship where they just want to bang each other anywhere, including Nina's office, which Nina walked in on and was traumatized. When Michael leaves, Nina makes it a point to plant the seed in her head, the seed of doubt, that Michael is actually being sincere when it comes to his feelings for her, by saying he'll throw her away when he gets what he wants. And she's got to look out for herself. And if she wants to pursue a career in fashion, she should stick with the top of the food chain, which Nina's like, I'm at the top. I hope she ignores Nina, honestly. Like, if she wants to pursue a career in fashion, more power to Jacinda. But I don't think Michael's faking his feelings for her. Also, kudos to Rory Gibson for making Michael sexy and having actual chemistry with the women he works with, because that was sorely lacking under Chad. All due respect. He got shot in the back. He did see a shooter. Michael really don't give a damn. She's a sex worker, Kaiwan. There's a difference. She's an escort, essentially. Sometimes they're just used to go on dates. Brooklyn also did the same thing. But yeah. And also, former sex worker. She's currently Nina's assistant. She doesn't do the sex work anymore. Alright, anyway. So, moving on. Let's quickly talk a little bit about Portia. She was also around when Curtis had gotten arrested. And she went back to the hospital freaking out and telling Isaiah what happened. And the stress caused her to have cramping. She's taken to emergency, but apparently the OBGYNs were all busy. All of them. So Portia counts on Britt, who goes above and beyond for her. Enough so that Lucas actually basically offered to write a second letter of recommendation for her to get her job back. I loved that. And Britt, I'm happy for Britt. Like, I'm seeing glimpses of the Britt that we had before she died, which I've missed. I've hated that they've kind of resorted to, essentially making her like the one-dimensional character she was in 2012. And she's not that. She's had a lot of growth, and I think Kelly Thibault has said as much as she's been trying to show that, that side of Britt that was there as much as she could. And she's been doing a good job, but it's taken a while to get there. But it's there. It's there fundamentally. But yeah. By the way, Isaiah, this is how Isaiah found out that Portia was pregnant. Because she was cramping and she's like, save the baby. And Isaiah's just like, excuse me? And he takes a minute, and then as soon as they have a second alone, he's like, am I the father? And Portia was honest. She's like, I don't know. And he even asks her, like, basically, she does tell him that she's planning to do a DNA test at the first trimester. At the end of the first trimester. And he's like, would you have lied to me or told me the truth if the baby was mine at that point? And she's like, yes, I would have. She explains that she lied to Curtis about Trina Back then, she was not going to make the same mistake, and I believe her on that, honestly. But yeah, he's not sure how he feels about being a father, but since, she has to go on bed rest, he does offer to take her back to his cozy cabin so that she can have some real bed rest and be waited on hand and foot by him. Now, Trina learns her mom's been admitted to the hospital and checks in on her and also confronts her because obviously Portia didn't tell her that she was pregnant. She found out from Stella and oh my gosh, his name escapes me, Curtis's father, the previous week. And she just tells her the truth. She's like, I was planning on telling nobody, but Curtis figured it out, and he told Stella and his father. And she gets it, and then Curtis shows up because he's been freed from jail. Charges have been dropped because more evidence came to light incriminating Willow more so. He invites her back to his place for bed rest so he and Trina can serve her, while Isaiah watches on discreetly, by the way. And he's upset, but he nods his head in giving his blessing to just go with Curtis and Trina so that there's no suspicion there. I'm so frustrated because I actually like Portia and Isaiah. I think that they could potentially be a cute couple, hospital couple, if Portia wasn't such a hot mess and put herself under so much legal scrutiny that will put her career in jeopardy once it comes out, and it will come out because if she's planning on coming clean that Isaiah is the father, which I believe he is, then that means the relationship is going to be revealed. And she's the chief of staff, he's a doctor, she's his superior. It's not going to look good. But yeah, I think that they could have been a cute couple, maybe after getting over that hurdle, I suppose. And the baby drama as well. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if the show actually cared about highlighting the hospital and hospital storylines, they might be a good couple. Hey, me Cobb. Oh, also, hi, Brooklyn. I forget if I said hi earlier. You said Britt is the key to this mess with Sidwell. It's true. We're going to talk about Britt and Jason in a minute, too. We'll get into that. But yeah. So, what's crazy, though? We haven't had, a front burner hospital couple whose stories mostly took place in the hospital since Robin and Patrick. And it's been nearly 10 years since we've seen Robin and Patrick together on screen. And even 10 years ago, when they were just going out the door, their storylines were really not in the hospital. There was so much ridiculousness towards the end of their tenure, with her being dead and held hostage by Faison in a Duke mask, and then held hostage again by Victor Cassadine to save Jason. Realistically, it's been more than 15 years since I've had a hospital couple with hospital stories regularly. And I just want the show to have the hospital be the focal point again instead of what feels like a barely used backdrop. 13, it's been almost 12 or 13 years. Robin died in 2013, and then Patrick and Sam were together in 2014. She came back towards the end of that, and I think Patrick stuck around for a while. He ended up with Sam. Robin was gone for a while, and then they left right before 2016, I think, because 2016 is when I started this show, and the first thing I talked about was Robin and Patrick leaving together with Emma as their happily ever after. But yeah, I just want the show to have the hospital as a focal point and have a couple and actual hospital storylines. Their idea of hospital storylines these days are things like Elizabeth getting an itchy eye and getting eye drops for it in a PSA type of story that's like maybe an episode or two long. Like, it's just sad and embarrassing to watch. Like, I was watching Elizabeth and Felicia scenes, like, are they serious right now? Are they serious? I mean, maybe they're gonna do more with it, I don't know, but, like, it seems pretty solved to me. But again, I guess I don't know much about that mite's disease in her eyes that they were talking about. But apparently it's common, so I don't know. It's like the time Tiffany got diabetes. Didn't Bobby get diabetes as well? Yeah, Liz with eye mites. Ridiculous. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's crazy to me. Like, that's the best they could come up with. Elizabeth is only the granddaughter of a legacy character of the show, which is crazy. This is the storylines they're giving her. Man. I just miss seeing hospital drama on General Hospital. Is it really so much to ask for with a show with that name? Like, they managed to do it for decades. You know, have, like, you know, hospital storylines happening while the other crazy stuff was happening, you know? The hospital was still very much the focal point in the midst of things like Luke and Laura and the 90s mob and everything in between. Like, there was always doctors and couples in the hospital, and a lot of, you know, the stories kind of circling back to the hospital, whether it's injuries from the show or the hospital having to gather for, like, you know, the Ice Princess when poor Charles was covered in snow. You know, there was a lot of emergencies happening in the hospital as a result. Like, things circled back to the hospital always. And it just doesn't seem to anymore, and it's unfortunate. Alright. Blame Chris and Dan not making everybody rich because they work in the hospital. They made Curtis rich, but he doesn't work in the hospital. They made Sonny rich. Yeah, when everyone in town is rich, it's kind of hard. I don't know, though. Angel said, I get recurring conjunctivitis in one eye, but I wouldn't do a PSA over it. There you go. Yeah, I feel like they just kind of put a bunch of, like, random diseases in a box and pulled it out, and they're like, okay, let's make an episode dedicated to this. Who do we use? Well, Elizabeth's the only nurse that we show. Guess it'll be her. But yeah. Okay, finally let's talk about Britt and Jason. As you know, Jason had to take care of a very drunk Britt and give her medication because she was too drunk. And Britt and Jason kind of discussed the goings on. She made it seem like she had no memory of most of it, but she really did. She just didn't want Jason to bring up that she dared him to kiss him, and he didn't because he's a gentleman. But later, Jason takes it upon himself to take a closer look at her meds this week because he managed to figure out that Britt is only working with these not-so-mysterious villains because if she stops, then her meds stop, and her symptoms would come back for her Huntington's and likely kill her. Now, Jason wants to take a sample of her medication to another lab to look at so they can procreate it so she can get out from under them. And help all the people around the world who have Huntington's as well. It's icky territory, honestly, because we know that medicine doesn't actually exist. So, you know, it's teetering on, like, maybe upsetting people that are actually battling with Huntington's disease that might watch the show or love someone that is battling it. It kind of makes a mockery of it a little bit. But it's a smart idea on Jason's part regardless. And for whatever reason, Britt doesn't want him to do it. But it doesn't stop her from planting a big old kiss on him before turning down his offer. Angel said that I might commercial people paid GH well to do this. Maybe so. Maybe so. Well, put that money towards a better story then. Jeez. Anyway, with Britt, I'm just like, girl, stop being so stubborn and let Jason save you from this nightmare that has you working with vile people that forces you to witness murder and hide it and test on animals. Surely, Britt, you don't want to be associated with any of that, really. But yeah, I hope Jason just does it anyway. I mean, he can clearly get into her room and take it when she's at work. But yeah, it's that was kind of GH in a nutshell this week. Sorry. Other cute things that happened this week. Molly being there with Christina as Christina went to go get basically her allergy shot. Kaiwani said, I never liked the fact that they gave her Huntington's disease in the first place. Well, you know, Kelly Thiebaud had planned on dying or killing off the character, thinking that she was going to have her forever primetime gig and move to the UK and all this other stuff. And it didn't work out, so she came back. So I think she's just glad that they made her alive, regardless of how the character was supposed to end. But they possibly found out a cure to Huntington's disease or to put it in remission. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Good to know, though. Molly and the DA, they had a little conversation about Sunny, and Molly saying, I've noticed that you and Sunny have gotten closer, and she makes this whole stance of like, oh, I'm just playing him because I want him to feel caught off guard when I bring him down. And I'm like, where have we seen this before? And I'm like, oh yeah, several other times with other DAs and other lawyers and other law enforcement females that fall for Sunny. Happy birthday, Jacarius. Hope you had a good birthday. So yeah, I guess, you know, it feels like old school GH with another DA falling for her. She's one of the other suspects. No, she's not. No, she's not. But yeah. Anyway, when Willow gets got, hopefully she goes into a mental institution for trying to kill Drew. Or hopefully she tries again and succeeds. Either way. 2009, Claire Walsh, that was her name. Claire Walsh. And then she got interrupted by Brenda coming back to the show. Lord have mercy. But yeah, inevitably the DA is going to sleep with Sunny. It's only a matter of time. I will say that they do have good chemistry. And I like the actress too. It's just, you know, it's so been there, done that, but it's like, it's classic Sunny. They're not really putting him with anyone else. They're not going to put him with Carly. They're not going to bring back Brenda. There's no one else really on the canvas for him right now, so might as well go with this. At least Claire got a new iPad out of the deal. What? Good lord. Man, didn't she get like a new gig like out in Iceland or something? The woman that played Brenda retired. Well, you know, she seems to be having a good life. You know, just raising her kid and just living her best life. But I love that her and the actress that plays Lois, Rena Sofer, seem to still hang out all the time. Besties in real life too. Alright guys. But yeah, that was GH in a nutshell. There's no other scenes that I really, you know, that are really worth discussing beyond the ones that we already did. I think my favorite scenes were Brooklyn calling Willow out and just shooing her away. Interesting. I will say that I did find it interesting that Chase wasn't planning on telling Michael, but then he just walked in on them talking about it, and that Chase put his foot down in regards to signing, a statement to tell the truth. And Michael, he was about to go after Chase. He's so like dark and broody. I love it. I love this actor that plays Michael. He's just brought in so much life to the character. But yeah, I don't know. Chase is falling for Willow's crap the same way he fell for Nell's crap. So, and that's the thing. Like, I'm getting so much Nell vibes from Willow now. Like the fact that she just lies like she breathes, and convincingly so. But she's full of it. She's full of it. She knew the risk that he was taking. She thought about it. She'd probably, sleep with him if she thought it would help her get her kids back. But it is what it is. But yeah, I can't wait till... You're saying you're sick of my crap, then stop watching me. Bye. I'm just telling you like the truth. Willow is the one that did it. We know it. We know she's crazy. She done did it. And Chase is just falling for his crap. I don't think that Michael is... I don't consider her evil. You don't consider Nell evil either, though, Kaiwan. You delusionally are obsessed with her. And she hasn't been on the show for years. But anyway. So yeah, Willow's just as evil as Nell now. And she's gonna get got. But, I don't know. I do want Willow to get help. I don't want her to just be batshit crazy like Nell and not get help, because in my opinion, when it comes to Nell as well, I think that Nell could have been a salvaged character that was morally gray. I truly think that. I think that she could have been a fantastic character on the show if they didn't just make her go full crazy. Truly. You can be sick of Michael, but he's being honest. Hopefully Tracy returning will deal with this mess. Yeah, I'm glad that Tracy... Yeah, Jane Elliott's back tomorrow, guys. She was in the previews on Friday's episode. But, the first thing she's going to have to deal with is Drew taking all the family heirlooms. That's going to be her first line of business. The Willow stuff, she's just gonna let Michael go hard on that. But yeah, I'm just to finish what I was saying on Nell. I think that she could have very much been like a Carly-esque character, in the sense that she did bad things because she was a woman scorned. She was manipulated by her father into thinking that Carly was this evil person, but. Not that Carly's the same, but Carly had no idea who saved her daughter's life, and she was led to think so. So, she went on revenge on Carly, but it was misguided. And they could have salvaged that. They could have made her kind of a heroine on the show. And they just went the full crazy mode. And that's why I'm hoping they don't do that for Willow. I don't mind if Willow has some spice to her. But, I don't want her to go full crazy and stay there. I want her to get help for her crazy and then rebuild her life in a way so that she can be there for her kids and make good decisions for her kids. Because, when... I don't know about this whole trial with Willow and Drew, but let's say they get to the child custody trial, supposedly in January. I want the kids to take a stand because Wiley clearly doesn't like Drew. He does not want to live with Drew and Willow. And to that end, the judge or whoever is prosecuting that case in particular can just be can bring up the stuff with Wiley and Drew and how Drew basically abused Wiley emotionally for personal gain, and then point to Willow and be like, and you want your kid to be in the house with this man? And she would just lose custody again. So like I said, I hope that Willow goes to therapy, sees how stupid she's being, and frickin' just like gets her shit together. Cause listen, it's obvious, very obvious that she does not like Drew. She does not love him. She was ready to throw that ring off of her finger the second she realized she might not even have a trial and probably annul the marriage. So, like, I don't know. She's not clearly that far gone, but she's gone enough to, like, torture a baby. You know what I mean? And, like, put her kids in a position where they had to potentially live with Drew again. Just to show face. I don't know. Maybe she thinks that, if she gets custody of her kids, she would just move right on out. It's hard to say. But yeah, truly I'm rooting for Willow to get her shit together. Angelie said, I never want to see Michael and Willow ever together again. Oh yeah, I don't... Listen, don't get it twisted. I do not want Michael and Willow back together. I just want Willow to get her shit together so that she can be a decent mom to her kids, be away from Drew, find someone new to be with, and just move on with her life. And be amicable with Michael. And Michael be amicable with her. Just send Willow to Shady Brook once this is all said and done. Yeah. Yeah, girl needs serious therapy. And, like, maybe some medication. I don't know. If she's got a split personality going on in there, and she's blocking things out, we'll see. Oh, good night, Brooklyn. Yeah, we're gonna end the stream here, though, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this live stream, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll catch you guys next weekend. Peace out. Mwah. Good night.